Hey, everybody, welcome back to the podcast. You're listening to the longest running superhero role playing game on Earth. I'm your host, the Game Master, and in this one, we're going to talk about M.A.S.K, aka the Mobile Armored Strike Command. But before we get into that, smash like, make sure you're subscribed, and leave us a comment. We've got an awesome community here, and it's all thanks to you. So thank you so much for being here. With all that said, let's dive in. The prologue to this one starts in November of 1986 with the leader of Venom, Miles Mayhem, and his identical twin brother, Maximus Mayhem. They're driving a semi-truck through a winding mountain pass. Miles used to be a hero. In fact, both he and Matt Tracker had connections to G.I. Joe. They were reverse engineering Cybertronian technology and developing the M.A.S.K vehicles together. But then Mayhem fell in with Cobra, and a subdivision of that organization was birthed called V.E.N.O.M. Miles now commands the agents of Venom, while Matt Tracker commands the agents of M.A.S.K. But the identical twin brother of Miles warns him that he can't keep this up forever. Recently, the Cobra La ice dome in the Himalayas was destroyed, and nobody has seen hide nor hair of Cobra since that event. It's the end of an age. And if Venom keeps going the way that they are, they too will go extinct. Max suggests that in order to survive, you're going to have to go straight. But Miles ignores the suggestion, thinking of it as stupid, and also thinking of his brother as stupid. But it does give him an idea. Venom pretends to have been reformed, and a charity race is held in Chicago. Miles uses a Venom vehicle called Buzzard, which in its mundane form looks like a purple Indy car with green trim. Matt Tracker races against him in a M.A.S.K vehicle called Goliath, which in its mundane form looks like a blue Indy car with yellow trim. During the race, a Venom agent named Bruno Shepard disguises himself as a M.A.S.K agent named Brad Turner. The spy requests backup, luring the other M.A.S.K agents away from Tracker. And then once Matt is alone, Venom tries to take him out. But Matt holds his own as the other M.A.S.K agents realize what's really going on. So the heroes head back to the racetrack, and the villains decide to retreat. Buzzard splits into three parts. The long middle section transforms into a jet-like drone. The long side pieces each have two wheels, and they transform into something akin to Batman's motorcycle from the Christian Bale movies. Using one of those bikes, Miles Mayhem steals the money that was supposedly raised for charity, and he escapes into the Chicago sewer system with millions of dollars. When he later rendezvous with his brother, Maximus is upset that not only did Miles not go straight, but he lied to Max. Miles has power lust, and he tells Max that he will never go back to his old life. Max repeatedly warns his twin that if he keeps it up, it will be his undoing. But Miles blows him off. Which brings us to the main plot of today's game, which takes place in 1987 at Boulder Hill, the headquarters of M.A.S.K, which is disguised as a mountain with a gas station out front. Maximus Mayhem tells his brother, Miles, that Bruce Sato, a M.A.S.K agent, has invented a gadget called a replicator, which can make anything. So Miles wants to get his hand on it, and he gets Venom together to attack Boulder Hill and steal the device. So the Venom agents for this mission are Bruno Shepard, who selects an orange GTO called Stinger. Lester Sludge selects a black four-wheeler called Iguana. Cliff Dagger selects a black pickup truck called Jackhammer. Floyd Malloy selects a red motorcycle called Vampire. Maximus Mayhem selects the purple and green Indy car called Buzzard. Miles Mayhem selects a blue jet fighter called Switchblade. Nash Gory selects a black big rig semi called Outlaw. Sly Rax selects a purple motorcycle called Piranha. And Vanessa Warfield selects a purple Nissan Z called Manta. And all of the M.A.S.K agents respond to an attack on their headquarters. And in this adventure, they were all player characters. And as such, I let them pick and choose what equipment they wanted to use. So Agent Baker selects a white Lamborghini Countach called Stiletto. Agent Bombay selects a blue motorcycle called Bullet. Agent Burns selects a black Corvette called Raven. Agent Bushkin selects a blue cab-over-engine semi-truck called Bulldog. Agent Hawks selects a red tow truck called Wildcat. Agent Hayes selects an orange Jeep called Gator. Agent LaFleur selects a blue van with big monster truck wheels called Volcano. Agent Lopez selects an orange dune buggy called Firefly. Agent McLean selects a 1957 Chevy called Hurricane. Agent Riker selects a white RV called Slingshot. Agent Rushmore selects an Indy car on a flatbed truck called Goliath. Agent Sato selects a reddish purplish big rig called Rhino. Agent Turner selects a red and white stock car called Razorback. Agent Tracker selects a desert camo jet fighter called Skybolt. And last but not least, Alex Sector stays behind to man the Boulder Hill headquarters. So the first hero to go was Agent Baker, who was played by a girl named Sarah, who was totally unfamiliar with the M.A.S.K cartoon and toys. So she rolled randomly to see who she would fight. She rolled one 10-sided die, and she got a 10. Since there were only 9 agents of Venom, I ruled that the 10th quote-unquote agent was a holographic duplicate of Maximus Mayhem that was helping Max drive the Buzzard IndyCar. Normally, the way that vehicle worked was Max and Miles operated the side components, while the center component was a drone. The idea of a holographic duplicate appeared late in the series, so we thought that would explain how Buzzard was being operated without a second driver. Point being, Stiletto attacks Buzzard, which by now has already split into its 3 components, and Sarah rolled a 5 and a 6, which was a hit. But sadly, she needed 1 column shift to do damage. So a blast does hit Buzzard, but Buzzard's armored surface protects it. Bullet then attacks Outlaw, rolling a 9 and an 8, which also does no damage. Raven attacks Piranha, rolling a 10 and a 3, which hits, doing 8 points of damage, disabling it. So Piranha is out of the fight. Bulldog attacks Stinger, rolling a 2 and a 5, which is a miss. Wildcat attacks Buzzard's central drone component, rolling a 9 and an 8, doing 4 points of damage. So its body drops from 17 to 13. Gator attacks Buzzard too, rolling an 8 and a 2, which is also a miss. Volcano attacks Manta, rolling double eights, then a 7 and a 1, which is a total of 5 column shifts. So Manta takes a staggering 27 points of damage and is destroyed. Firefly attacks Outlaw, rolling a 5 and a 4, which is a miss. Hurricane then attacks Outlaw, rolling double twos, then a 7 and a 6, which adds up to 3 column shifts. And despite such a high roll, Outlaw still takes no damage. Slingshot attacks Buzzard's central component, rolling a 9 and a 4 for 1 column shift. Buzzard takes 8 points of damage, so its body drops from 13 to 5. Goliath attacks Jackhammer, rolling a 9 and a 4, which hits for 1 column shift, doing 12 points of damage. So Jackhammer's body drops to 6. Rhino attacks Outlaw, rolling an 8 and a 3, which hits, doing 7 points of damage. Razorback attacks Buzzard, rolling double sevens, then an 8 and a 4. So Buzzard's central component is finally disabled and crashes into the desert. Skybolt attacks Switchblade, rolling an 8 and a 7, which is 2 column shifts. Switchblade takes 4 points of damage. Finally, Boulder Hill's defensive weapons target Outlaw and fire. Alex Sector rolls a 10 and a 1, which hits, doing 18 points of damage. Outlaw still has 5 hit points left, though, so it's still in the fight. And now it's the villain's turn to attack. Stinger attacks Bulldog, rolling a 4 and a 6, which is a miss. Iguana attacks Bullet, rolling double fives, then a 7 and a 4, which is exactly what it needs to disable Bullet. Jackhammer attacks Goliath, rolling a 2 and a 1, which misses. Vampire attacks Stiletto, rolling a 5 and an 8, earning 2 column shifts, which still isn't enough to pierce the Lamborghini's white armor. Buzzard holds action because Maximus Mayhem has been toying with the idea of changing sides. When the player characters hear this, they feel bad that so many of them were dogpiling on Buzzard in round 1. Miles Mayhem, by the way, doesn't notice this. He and his archenemy, Matt Tracker, are busy having an old-fashioned dogfight, and as such, Switchblade attacks Skybolt, rolling a 1 and an 8, which is a miss. Outlaw attacks Rhino, rolling a 9 and a 7, which hits, earning 2 column shifts, which deals 11 points of damage as the 2 big rigs slug it out. Now it's the hero's turn again. So Stiletto attacks Vampire, rolling a 10 and a 2, which hits, doing 9 points of damage, taking Vampire out of the fight. Raven attacks Iguana, rolling a 7 and a 5, doing 9 points of damage, disabling Iguana. Bulldog attacks Stinger, rolling a 10 and a 3, earning 1 column shift. So Stinger takes 8 points of damage. Wildcat also attacks Stinger, rolling an 8 and a 9, which is 2 column shifts. So Stinger then takes an additional 8 points of damage. And then Gator attacks Stinger, rolling double fives, then a 7 and a 10, which is 5 points of damage. So Stinger's out of the fight. Volcano attacks Outlaw, rolling a 2 and a 1, which is a miss. Firefly attacks Switchblade, rolling a 4 and a 5, which is a miss. Hurricane attacks Jackhammer, rolling 10 and a 6, which hits for 2 column shifts. So Jackhammer takes 8 points of damage. Slingshot attacks Switchblade, rolling an 8 and a 3, which hits, but does no damage. Goliath attacks Outlaw, rolling a 9 and a 6, which hits for 2 column shifts. Outlaw takes 8 points of damage. Rhino attacks Outlaw, rolling double 4s, then a 10 and a 1 for 3 column shifts. Outlaw takes 13 points of damage, and Outlaw is finally out of the fight. Razorback attacks Jackhammer, rolling a 1 and a 7, which is a miss. Skybolt attacks Switchblade, rolling an 8 and a 3, which hits, but does no damage. Boulder Hill goes, rolling a 6 and a 7, which hits Jackhammer for 23 points of damage, and Jackhammer is out of the fight. So it's Miles Mayhem's turn. He sees Venom's vehicles have all been taken out except for Switchblade, so he decides to retreat and abandon his own men. So on his turn, he flies away. Matt Tracker now has to choose between chasing Miles Mayhem and keeping all of his men here to pull the Venom agents out of their vehicles and arrest them. Matt chooses to focus on the greater number of Venom agents, so Miles Mayhem himself gets away. The Venom agents are arrested, and when a few of them resist using their masks, which each have their own superpower, the mask agents shoot them with vehicle weapons, declaring knockout damage only. So Venom is done. Which brings us to the epilogue. Time passes, and Miles Mayhem builds a new vehicle, which this time resembles a blue pickup truck. It's called Rat Fang, and he uses it to steal what he thinks is that replicator device. Mayhem's hope is that this replicator will be able to make him gold, diamonds, and anything else that his heart desires. But there never was a replicator. It was all just something that M.A.S.K came up with as bait. When Miles steals the wooden crate, it transforms into a flying gadget called Hornet, which promptly blasts him with a laser. Miles Mayhem gets his day in court, and his own brother testifies against him. So Miles is sent to prison, where he begins the slow process of convincing his fellow prisoners that they should all break out and form the new Venom. But that's a story for another day. We ran this one back in 2004, and man, is it hard to believe that that has been 20 years already. We enjoyed playing it. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing about it. If so, as always, smash like, hit subscribe, and be sure to leave us a comment. And from all of us here at the longest running superhero role-playing game on Earth, we hope you have a good one, and we'll see you in the next adventure.